And that's my cue to start the show now. Welcome to the live edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 2 hour weekly get together. We bring you the biggest news from around the world of hard rock, heavy metal, and of course, the wide world of sports. And guys, I am beat up today. Beat up, tore up from the floor up. It has been a rough day. And literally just had to scramble to reassign 109 guys. That's right. I had 109 guys. I had a job just shut down, and I had to think fast. And a lot of guys getting a day off tomorrow. So my apologies. Again, my regular job's getting in the way of my fun. But I'm going to do my best to get through 2 hours. And like I said, a little less than that now. But hope you guys have had a great week. You know, it's kind of that slow period in sports. Not a lot to talk about, but plenty to do. And of course, I'll be welcoming back my partner, crime, Mr. Jeff Big Shot Talwinski. He was too busy last week to join us, but he's back this week and ready to go. We bring him back versus. That's right, versus. Jeff will throw me a how about this versus this, and we will discuss. I will not. I do not know what the new topic for this week is, but I'm sure Jeff's got one. We'll talk a little bit about some bullshit. The NFL has squashed. That's right, squashed the audio of the Jason of the Travis Kelce bumping of what's his name, Andy Reid. I think that's total bullshit. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the NBA All-Star Game, whatever that you want to call that, 200 and something points, and how disgusting that is. We'll talk about the NHL Stadium Series. I thought it was great except for the uniforms, but we'll get to that. We'll talk about Geno Smith back with the Seahawks. Jimmy Garoppolo suspended a couple of games. The Giants, are they going to what they're going to do with Barkley? Slayer, we got some Slayer news. That's right. And we'll talk about the greatest sporting event of all time. Lots to talk about. And of course, whatever else pops up when Jeff and I get together to start the show. So, again, I hope you guys have had a great week. And I hope you're all settled in, nice and warm and cozy. And let's kick this show into high gear. My dad's waiting to get on. So let's bring on my buddy, my brother from some other mother, my pal of 40 years plus, Hefe, Mr. Jeff Talwinski. And by the way, folks, he's on the lookout for another bass. I can see it. I can smell it from here. What's up, Hefe?
No, I got a semi-new on-air buddy.
I see that. I see that.
Show. This is, well, she goes by several different names. Everything from Pain in the Ass to Linda to Cat to Caps, whatever. So we'll see how long she's good here because I have a dog asleep over there that's paranoid of the cat.
Oh, boy. So, listen. Oh, well, listen, man, we're on the air. We're doing our thing. Jeff will start the show off as we do each and every Thursday night, except for last week when you were busy with band practice. We'll get to your gig and all of that. Jeff, how was your week?
Long, but I'm going to keep an eye on what she's doing. Long, but I'm sorry I missed last week because I wanted to talk about this Jason Kelce thing, man. I mean, Travis Kelce thing.
Yep, we'll get to that for sure. That's going to be a big part of tonight's show. I think it's a bullshit, but let's get into it a little bit. But let's get to the show started first. So, yeah, lots of stuff happening. Going on is we got presidential races are heating up. We got migrants all over the city. We got free agency in football kicking in high gear. We got lots to talk about. We got lots of things to kick off the show with. We got verses. You got your next topics for your new segment?
Of course I do.
So good to hear that. And I'm very disappointed. We love to get you back on the show after one of your gigs to hear about it, but your gig was snowed out last week.
Sadly, yes.
I did not realize it snowed that much. It snowed a lot here, but the streets really weren't affected. We, a lot of it in the grass. We had some snow, but within a couple of an hour or so, certainly before middle of the day, it was basically gone out here. But there was that much snow in Staten Island.
No,
Or you were just guessing that it would be and it would affect the show.
some people had jobs that they had to go to because of the snow.
Ah,
So we felt as though that it would just be better to cancel.
gotcha. Understood. Okay. All right. So unfortunately, that show being rescheduled, or is that dead in the water?
I think it's dead in the water, to be honest with you.
All right. Anything new on the horizon?
We got something in May at the Hop Shop, but other than that, that's about it.
Okay.
Nothing else to to talk about on that. So
All right. So we'll yeah, sadly is right, but all right. So we got to get into the show. We got lots to get to. I want to bring it up first because to me it's important. You know what? Maybe not. Let's get my dad on, and then I want to talk about what me is the greatest sporting event of all time. We've already had this conversation 100 times, but I have to talk about it each and every year when it gets to this date. So let's put a pin on that. Let's get my dad on, see what he's up to, and then we'll come back to that. What's up, Pop?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
All good, Dad.
Hey,
All
Jeff.
good.
How you doing, Tom? Yeah, you're talking about. Now, I know you have said it before. You thought the hockey game,
Yeah,
the NBA, but I understand that and I can agree with it. But I don't know anybody in their right mind that actually thought the Americans were even going to have a chance. So
sure.
it wasn't a great buildup of it. If you
No.
watched it, because you were flipping channels.
Well, not
Well,
really.
you
Hold on.
said-
I remember that because I watched it with you, and
Right.
I agree. At the beginning of the week or the week before when the Olympics started, it was nobody paying attention to hockey, and then all of a sudden they were winning games. They were winning games. They were winning games. The build up to that game was huge. The place was packed. You know, the only mistake they made was not playing it live on the air. They did a tape delay. So if you and back then it was hard to find out scores of games because it wasn't the internet. But to me, that night that was a huge game. People were all over that. Problem was it just wasn't on until later on.
Yeah,
But-
but it wasn't the same as a sporting event where you really didn't know who was going to win, and it could be a tough game. It was a good game. We thought it would be a good game, but I didn't think they had a
Yeah.
light chance.
No, nobody
Because
did.
The
Yeah.
Russians were beating our professionals.
Well, they
They
just beat this
embarrassed
team.
them.
They just beat this team 10-3.
Yeah.
But obviously
Yeah.
Herb Brooks had a game plan that worked. And Jeff, how much do you remember about that game and that time? Like, did you watch the game? Were you aware of the hockey at that point in the Olympics?
I watched the game because it was the United States versus Russia. I remember it being a big game.
Oh yeah,
Before it started, and as it was being played, I didn't know many of the backstories behind it. I thought it was live. From what you just said, it was a tape delay. I didn't even know that until just
yes.
now.
That game was played at 5:00 in the afternoon, yet wasn't broadcast until 8:00 at night.
Wow. Well, that's the first time that I ever heard that, to be honest.
Yes, that is a fact because I'll tell you why. Do you guys remember the time there was those, like, they had the sports phone? It was 976-1313 was sports phone.
Right.
And I remember calling sports phone at like 7:00 and finding out that right before the game started, so maybe 7:30, and find out that USA had won the game. So when I watched it, I already knew they won because
But
sports
nobody
phone
picked
had
them.
won.
Nobody.
No,
I don't know anybody that even in the wildest drink
no.
bottle of scotch that you would pick the Americans to beat the. It was so
Nobody.
one-sided, or we
Oh,
thought.
absolutely, 100%.
Thought.
Yeah,
Now the
me too.
greatest event that I saw
Yeah,
had to be, or the one that I thought built up to the most excitement, was Frazier and Ali, the first fight at the Garden, because it was such a it went on for months, and it was just the biggest thing in the world that I had seen or heard.
Hold on one second, guys. Boss Brino's got a half a day's worth of work or better tomorrow to finish what he's doing. He'll be back there Monday morning. Period. Sorry. Yeah. So you were. Sorry. Now, what did you think was the best?
Ali Frazier fight at the Garden.
You know, again, I'm not saying for build up end of it, but if you look at the geopolitical end of that, you know, with the U.S. hostages, Russia, trying to exert their dominance of the world, everything that went around, amateurs versus professionals, the whole bit. To me, that is singularly the greatest sporting event that has ever happened.
What about you, Jeff? I'm sorry.
Oh, we all know the greatest sporting event, Mr. Florio. That would be.
Oh my God! Please.
When Joe Namath led the Jets against the Miami Colts.
Oh, that was the
first Super Bowl in New York.
Oh my God!
See, that's the greatest sporting event of all time.
I'm surprised you remember that far back. You remember that far back?
Man, that ain't right, man. Look at that. You say that from the safety in New Jersey, I see. Now, listen, in all seriousness, that was a great game. And even though I didn't know much about hockey, I remember watching it with my parents, and we were just happy to see the United States win. And it was uplifting for the country. And I remember my aunt and uncle at the time were actually at Lake Placid. I don't know if they actually went to the hockey game.
Right.
They went to the Olympics. And I remember wow, they were at the Olympics. That was a big thing at the time for us, that to know that they were there. But I remember the build up and everything. And like Tommy said, if you think about it, that whole thing was so primitive, because now you want to know something about sports, you just pick up your phone and there it is, or you go on the computer.
Yeah.
Back then you had to wait for the newspaper, and then maybe some replays here and there if you're lucky enough to catch the news and stay awake long enough to watch the sports part.
But and even the news, sometimes they didn't give you all the scores. They didn't give you all the news of the day. They gave you the highlights.
Yeah, or a game like that would be like United States won a hockey game 4-3 over. So,
that game definitely got a little more hype to that. But yeah, agree. Like, there was at that point, I'm just a huge sports fan. So when the Russians were playing the NHL All-Stars and they were beating them, you might get a blurb on the Channel 11 news at 10 o'clock at night that said, "Oh yeah, by the way, Russia beat the U.S. today in the hockey game." You're like, "Wait, what was the score? Who did what?" The only thing you got was either maybe a couple of goals and a fight. That was basically all you would get.
Yeah.
And don't forget too, back then hockey, wasn't really a big sport. It was on Channel 9 all the time. That was our only, that and the basketball used to be on Channel 9. I remember that.
Yes.
And
see it maybe once every couple of weeks.
There was the only person I knew that was into hockey when I was that age was Jerry Brusco.
Yeah, you're right.
That was it. So nobody knew anything about hockey, for the most part.
No, you're right. I mean, I was watching Ranger games because that's what my dad watched. So we watched Ranger games. But the Olympic hockey, to me, I stumbled on it the first night when they came back and they tied Sweden with 10 seconds left or whatever it was. I stumbled onto it. Then I said, I'll watch the next game. And then all of a sudden, like everybody else, I was hooked. And that's what really got me hooked on hockey, was watching that, 10 days of hockey. From that point on, I was a huge hockey fan and loved it all, loved it. But to me, with everything around that game and what it meant to the country, and it's symbolic. If you think about it, before that, things weren't going well. We got stuck with Jimmy Carter, the latter day Joe Biden, and now, and then after that, like after that you win, and all of a sudden the country rebounds, and to me that's the greatest sporting event of all time, bar none. It's my opinion, obviously.
Well, you got to remember, if I remember correctly, at that point in time, politically, the hostages were still in Iran.
Yep.
Ronald Reagan, did he get into office at that time, or he was elected?
Yeah, Reagan was in. Reagan was. Wait a second. Good question.
Yeah, he came in right before they.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I think it was Nixon.
No. Wasn't
somebody
Nixon.
made one of the.
No, it was Carter made. No, Reagan's people made the deal that when he went into office, they would release them, which was after that. Like what? So the 80, he would have went into office in 81. So,
All right, so he wasn't
point-
even elected yet. He was
no,
elected
Jimmy didn't have the election yet. That election was
in
later that year.
1980.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
All right. So, there was a lot going on in the world. That was a big uplift. I believe Russia was in Afghanistan at that point in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing too.
Yeah, listen, it's a big event. When you watch the movie, I don't know if you guys ever watched Miracle. You
Miracle
get
on
some
Ice.
behind the scenes. Well, there was two different ones. There was Miracle on Ice, was
really?
the one they did back then, and then did a more modern version about 20 years ago, called Miracle, which was a fantastic movie. And like I said, to me, that's something that can never be duplicated again. Now, when you're playing with professional athletes, nobody dominates the world stage anymore that way. It's just a complete, the Russians had won 4 straight Olympics at that point. What they say, won 64, 68, 72, and 76. So, you're talking about, 20 years of dominance in the sport, beating all the professional teams, all the professional leagues, and then to have that team come in there, play that well, and beat them, boy, that, to me, it's nothing better than that. But
You're right, because if you wouldn't remember too much back then, but the only sport really playing was baseball. Even football wasn't big because they only played. You saw them on TV when they played on the road. If they played at home, they were not on TV.
The hockey games, you mean?
No. Football too.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
oh yes, definitely. I remember we used to sit by Nanny, by your grandmother's house, and you were able to figure the dial to pick up a Philadelphia station when they played Phillies.
Yeah, that I get. I remember that, and I remember the hockey and basketball being only road games you got to watch.
And the same thing with football.
I don't remember that with football.
Yeah,
so we didn't watch Giant games every week.
No, because that's when then they came up with the idea if it was a sellout, they would put it on TV.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, the owners started saying it was better for them to pay for the seating. Fill up the stadium and show it on TV because of the commercials. But up until that point, the only sport they really played all the time was baseball.
Yeah. I didn't realize with football.
Football up until, like Jeff said, up until really when the Jets beat Baltimore, wasn't really that.
Oh, please tell me that you're just bringing up. First off, most people will tell you that was the first fixed Super Bowl game. That we all know that there's no way in the world the Jets could have actually won that game unless it wasn't fixed. So, we all know that already. All right. So, and if he's going to hold on to 50-something years for one game, again, I always say it's the most important Super Bowl. But you watched; it wasn't a great football game. That wasn't a great game.
No, it really wasn't. No, it was a defensive game.
Yeah,
and most people don't like that.
No, it wasn't even a great football game from a defensive standpoint. I mean, it was boring. It was kind of like this year's Super Bowl, except it was fixed back then. It was fixed.
Listen, it took you how many years? 25 years to finally get a Super Bowl.
21.
50 years.
21
between championships.
21 years we got one.
21 years. So you still went almost 50 years between having a championship.
All right. I'm going to let you guys have the rest of the day.
To make the trophy out about it the last time the Giants won.
See what you started?
All right.
Jeff. Oh, boy. Here we go. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. I'll see you over the weekend.
I'll see you over the weekend. Take care, Jeff. Say hello to everybody.
Be good, Mr. Foyle.
That's my dad. And I think he's wrong on that. I'd like to look that up because I remember watching Giant home games on TV in the 70s. Now
I don't want to say anything, but when the Giants, you may remember this more than me. When the Giants, they had the fumble.
Yeah, 76. That was on TV. I watched it.
76. I think that was 78, 77, 78.
You could be right. I thought it was 76.
Giant Stadium.
It was definitely a Giant Stadium. Yeah, because the game was over. And Herm Edwards and the whole bit. So, yeah, I think my dad's wrong on that one. I think football, you saw games year round because, regardless, home or not. Because I remember watching Giant games every week. I didn't watch other games every week.
Yeah,
78,
Miracle at the
79,
Meadowlands. That was at the Meadowlands, November 19th, 1978. Can I tell you real quick what happened? Joe Pisarcek botched. Whereas, let me see. I just want to get everything right for
You want to get it right? Yes. And who did he hand the ball to? Who was he
Larry
trying to hand the
Zonka.
ball? Yes, he was trying to hand the ball to Larry Zonka.
And the head coach for the Giants was John McVay.
Yes, Sean McVay's grandfather.
Yeah, the Giants were out to a 17-0 lead or 17-6 lead into the third quarter. Philly got 13 points, and Joe Pisarcek blew the fumble, man. Wow.
Dude, you got to hang on a second. I got to pick up this phone call. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Elio. Okay.
What's up, Mike Biff? What's going on? I don't know if you guys can hear me. Oh, God.
All right, sorry guys, we're back in. Hey, Michael, how are you, buddy? Thanks for tuning back in. So let's get back to so anyway. Again, I don't know if anybody else agrees, but again, today is 44 years since the Miracle on Ice. U.S. beats Russia 4-3. One of the greatest hockey games. I mean, listen, even if it wasn't, the underdog game that the U.S. was to Russia, it was still a great hockey game. I have every game on tape. I bought them online. I have a DVD of every single game played in that tournament, in that Olympics, and that game, obviously. But of course, they didn't win the gold medal that night. They won that 2 days later against Switzerland. No, Finland. Sorry, Finland. That's right, Finland. Again, and Jeff, one other fact, if you want to have fact about it, they came from behind, and I don't think they led in any game in that tournament, or they at least came from behind in every tournament to win. So great memories. And again, you guys, we can argue the points from here till eternity. For me, it'll always go down as the greatest single sporting event of all time. Bar none. Anyway, let's move on. We got plenty else to get to tonight. It was Jeff and I sit here and do our show from here. Again, it's baseball season, Jeff. I don't know if we were going to have the good doctor was going to make an appearance tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's recovering, and he sent me a foul mouth. He wanted to do some nasty stuff to my mouth and this and that. So anyway, he was going to come on tonight, but
is that why you were late?
No, not at all. No, so he texted me. No, I had this work thing pop up at exactly 7 minutes to 7 that I had to deal with. I have 109 guys going to a job tomorrow that they can't work, so I have to kind of.
Why can't you just work? No permits or something?
Yeah, it's a complicated story, but it's right now there's no insurance on the job. So if anybody were to go there and work and got hurt, it would be a really big problem for everybody, including the guy who got hurt. So they have to get this straightened out and get all the paperwork worked out, and we can get back to work. So, so anyway, I had to scramble, make a couple quick phone calls, send a couple messages out, and I was able to do that in pretty quick time. But At the end of the day, we're still on the air. We'll do our thing here. But it's baseball season, Jeff. I know you're not much of a baseball fan, but there is some optimism in the Yankee world. The Yankees signed Juan Soto in the offseason, and I was happy about that. I haven't mentioned the Yankees, but then I get this crazy text message from your good buddy, Carmine the doctor. And let's see if I have it here. I can read it to you. Let's see. Carmine. Where is he? So he must have sent it to me in a Facebook one. All right, hold on 1 second. What did he say? Hold on. I get a kick out of his messages.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, by the way, Paul D'Agostino wanted to know if we wanted to go to Wrestling Con, 80s wrestling signing in Morristown, New Jersey, which is about an hour north. From Staten Island, it's probably about 40 minutes north. If on May the 4th, if you got any interest.
Who's going to be there? Do you know?
I didn't go ahead. Let me take a fast look, see if I can tell you. Hold on. Let's see if I can tell you who's going to be there. I should have did that. It's 80swrestling.com. Let's see. The Four Horsemen reunion, VIP experience. Who else is going to be there? Let's see. Wow, it's a big panel. Let's see. Jake the Snake, Sergeant Slaughter, the IRS, Ted DiBiase, Powers of Pain, Bushwhacker Luke, Greg the Hammer, Brutus Beefcake, Jimmy Hart, Haku, Cowboy Bob Morton, Tito, Tatanka, Ron Simmons, and the Brooklyn Brawler.
I think we got to go, Tom.
I think we need to go to this one, Jeff.
Huh?
I think we do.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good lineup, right?
Yeah, I think we got to go.
All right, I will look into the tickets, and I was wondering if you'd like to go. He invited us to go, so I will reach out to Paul if he wants to meet us up there. I'd be happy to meet. We'd be happy to meet up there. Yeah. All right, so I will put that on the calendar. Let me see if I can get the tip with the tickets. And do we want to do the VIP experience for the Four Horsemen? That seems to be the big thing.
It depends on who the Four Horsemen are.
Let's see. It looks like I see Barry Windham there. I think for some
Barry
reason.
Windham was one of the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, so Barry.
So was Steve McMichael.
Yeah,
Anderson, Tully Anderson, Ric Flair.
It's not very expensive, that's for sure.
Really?
I see Arn Anderson. I don't know who that is. There's a woman there. I don't know who that is. Let me see if I can bring it up on the screen for you. Maybe I can do that. You can help me pick out who some of these people are. Let's see. Hold on a second, Jeff. Let's put this on the screen over here. And okay, there it is. Let's see if I can bring this up on our screen. Sometimes I can't. Share screen. Yep, I can. There it is. Share it. All right, Jeff. Can you tell me who all those people are?
You got Barry Windham, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard.
Okay, Tully Blanchard, the guy with the black hair, right?
Yeah, I don't know who the blonde is between Arn Anderson and Barry Windham.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
And that chick, I don't know who that chick is either.
Yeah, it just says the Four Horsemen experience. I don't know what that means. Let's see if I bring that up on the other screen. Okay, let's see. Okay. J.J. Dillon and Baby Doll.
Never heard of either. Well, J.J. Dillon I've heard of.
So
I don't know who he is, but I've heard of him.
So the special VIP thing is a group photo with the Four Horsemen, autograph photos of Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Barry Windham, J.J. Dillon, Baby Doll, 2 additional autographs for any of the Horsemen. We will contact you following your purchase to see your autograph tickets you need. And group photo with the Horsemen is only available by purchasing the Four Horsemen experience. Okay, so that is one thing. If we wanted, wow, that's $300 a ticket for that one.
$300 a ticket
for just for the VIP experience for the Four Horsemen. The regular tickets are reasonable.
Fuck that. If it was Ric Flair, I'd say yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine if it was Ric Flair included, it would be even more expensive. But
who's the wrestlers appearing? I see it says superstars appearing. Who else is appearing?
Oh, I gave you that list. Hold on.
Oh, that's all it was?
Yeah. So right now that's
Demolition, Tully Blanchard, Baby Doll, Jake the Snake, The Four Horsemen, J.J. Dillon, Powers of Pain, Barry Windham, Dr. Tom Pritchard, Tony Atlas.
oh
Lauren
yeah, this is
Bacall,
wow. Art
Oh,
Anderson,
Dan
Slick
Spivey,
Ivy, Slick,
Slick,
Tony
Gurria.
Gurria, Scott McGee, Stan the Man Hansen.
Yeah, I think we got to look into this.
Kurt Fuller, because the other one, this is the one I was looking at, and it had all these guys on it. So,
Oh wow, Ron
Yeah.
Simmons, yeah.
yeah. So
Super
I
Bowl.
think there's a doable one, Jeff. I think we have to do this one.
Only thing though is Tony Atlas.
Yeah.
He may be like 106.
He
I
still
think-
looks good, though. He still looks good. We might have to get Frank Catalano to meet us up there. Frank Catalano, you got to come. I think you got to meet with us on this one, Frank.
Tony Atlas. Oh, he's not that old.
The guy be 60 something.
69.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking he was like 169.
I would say out of this group, the oldest guy is probably Slaughter. I would think
Who?
Sergeant Slaughter, either him or Jimmy Hart, because Jimmy Hart's been around
Jimmy
forever.
Hart. I bet you it's Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart's got to be 75. I would bet.
That's what you're saying? That's your guess?
I'm guessing. Yes, I'm guessing.
Oh, he was born in 1944, so he is about 80.
Oh wow. Well, wow. So yeah, he's easily, and then Slaughter's got to be right behind that. So, but
80,
yeah. So I think this is something that we got to do. Remember, right before COVID, we had agreed to go with him. I even bought the tickets. For the one
Sergeant Slaughter is only 75.
okay, so yeah,
Only 75.
only 75. So Jimmy Hart's the old man in the group.
Yeah, listen, let's do it, man.
All right, I will contact Paul. Anybody who'd like to join us? We'll make some plans, but I will get the tickets, and May 4th we'll go up to Wrestling Con in Morristown.
Morristown, okay.
All right, so that's a plan. We'll start with that, but yeah. So let me ask you something, Jeff. All right, Jeff Tawinski, you're online. The gates open. You're the first guy online. Who's the first wrestler you're going to?
Oh wow, man, that's a
All
good one.
All right, so you're looking at the list.
Off that list,
Yeah.
I could probably tell you which wrestlers I'm not interested in meeting.
No. Who's the first guy you got? Okay, because you got to think you might not get to everybody, right? It happened to me. I told you the LT story. So you might not get to the guy you want if you wait. So you go, okay, there's one guy, no matter what happens, I want a photo and a picture with who's the guy?
Maybe Tony Atlas or
I
Jimmy
think the same
Hart.
thing. I think exactly the same way. It's either Jimmy Hart or Tony Atlas for me.
Yeah, only because, to be honest with you, like the Bushwhackers.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Jake the Snake Roberts, like for years that persona that he had, he was kind of like creepy and everything.
Yeah.
And then it certainly seems as though that it's real. It wasn't a fake persona. So I don't know.
It's a lot
I
more,
wanna be left alone with Jake the Snake too
a
long.
lot more truth to that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to know if he has a snake yet,
Yeah. See, Tito, I've got a picture with already, so I'm okay. I could do without, but I would love to do it again. I would tell you, to me, it's Jimmy Hart, Tony Atlas, and then probably Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, but if
Slaughter goes back.
Sergeant Slaughter, I got a picture with Sergeant Slaughter. I want him to put me in the Cobra Clutch, though. Not, of course. I mean, hopefully he doesn't, like all of a sudden think I look like the Iron Sheik or something and go completely off and try to pop my head off. But it would be cool to, like, with him, like, as he's got you in a fucking hole or something.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but yeah, so that would be that would be my main event. So let's we'll put this on the calendar. Let's definitely do this. I will reach out to Paul and tell him we're gonna go, and I will get the tickets, and we'll go up and spend a couple hours at the Wrestling Con.
All right, cool.
80s Wrestling Con. This is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to this. I would also like to meet Tony Gurria. He's got to be 80 years old, no? He was wrestling in the 70s.
Yeah, he was.
He was tag team champion that. Barry Windham. Yeah. Baby Doll. I don't remember.
Tony Gurria is about 78.
Okay, yeah. Who's Bill Apter? Do you know who Bill Apter is?
No, I do not.
He must be a promotional guy or something. Tony Atlas, Boris Zukov. On
Oh, there's another one, man.
yeah, Dave Spivey, Slick. I don't remember Scott McGee. You have to Stan the Man Hansen. I remember Stan Hansen. And there's more. And there's more superstars. Do I see what, Frankie?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. What he's talking about.
And actually, there's more people to be announced. So I'm going to get us tickets. So
we may have to re-answer your question somewhere down the line.
Yeah, we may have to re-ask this question. So let's see. Wendy. Oh, there is more people added. Hold on. Wendy Richter.
Okay.
Let's see. Mike Rotundo's on there. He's Coco Beware. The Dream Team. That's fine. We know they're going to be. That's just a couple more people. Wendy Richter and Coco Beware.
Yeah, we've been getting your stuff.
Yeah. We see you, Frankie. I'm sorry. Yep. J.J. Dillon is the Four Horsemen. But was he a wrestler in that? I don't remember him as a wrestler. I don't remember at all, to be honest with you.
The Four Horsemen, there was a couple different versions of the
Four.
Oh,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Ric Flair was in there. I believe the Fabulous Freebirds. I think he was in Michael Hayes. I think he was in the Four Horsemen at one point in time.
So J.J. Dillon was okay. So J.J. Dillon was a manager. So he was the manager for the whole time, Frankie, or he was just at some point, I guess. All right. So we're locked in. Anybody wants to go to Wrestling Con? Let us know. We'll meet up together, and we can kind of walk the place. The 5th annual. This to me is huge news. So this is a good one. So
I'm going to give you real quick, just so you know,
sure.
The Four Horsemen. Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Tully Blanchard. That was the original Four Horsemen back in the late 80s.
Okay.
Then Lex Luger, it looks like Lex Luger and Barry Windham were in there from 1987 to 1989. And I'm trying to just look through highlights. Looks like Sting and Sid Vicious were also in the in the Four Horsemen. Then it was the Three Horsemen for about 6 months. Then they reformed and they feuded with the NWO. And
now, the Four Horsemen were never in the WWF, right?
What's that?
They weren't a part of WWF at all, were they?
I don't know if they were. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't remember them ever being. I remember the Four Horsemen, but I wasn't a big NWO, NWA, and all those different territories. I followed it, but I really wasn't a big fan of it all. And of course, I remember, the Four Horsemen. And did they wrestle always as a 4-man group? Was that like the big thing?
No, I don't think they wrestled as a 4-man group. I guess, you know what? I think they said you're going to wrestle against the Four Horsemen, 2 members of the Four Horsemen or something like that. And, there's a lot of people that went through there. The Four Horsemen ended with Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit in there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mondo from the, Steve McMichael was in there. There's a call. Yeah, there's a pretty big article. You'd have to read it.
Well, I have to do that.
But that might have been one of those things where you're going to wrestle and you don't know who you're going to wrestle. You're going to wrestle the Four Horsemen, but who you getting type of thing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. So they show up, and it could be either one of the 4 guys out to wrestle that night. Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you. You seem to know some of this. The Freebirds, wasn't Michael Hayes from the Freebirds in the Four Horsemen too, or did they just wrestle the Four Horsemen? I could have swore I remember seeing him at one time in the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, that's one I can't. Those are ones I can't answer. I did not follow those guys.
Well, that was one of those. That wasn't in our territory, so to speak. Yeah. We didn't really see much of it. I mean, I remember seeing bits and pieces. When I used to get other wrestling, when you went on UHF.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And you would get some of those far out of the way wrestling
shows. And they would also
what the set look like.
Yeah, and then I think during the week I want to say during the weekend, like or maybe on a Saturday afternoon. This is like pre Hulk Hogan at WWF. I used to catch a lot of the Von Erichs wrestling. I used to love to watch those guys wrestle. And then one by one, they killed themselves, and you didn't get to watch them.
I remember but whatever this WCW was before it was WCW, I remember seeing a lot of WWF wrestlers wrestle on a channel Saturday afternoons, late afternoons, 4:30 in the afternoon. And I remember watching, just to show you how far back this was, the Undertaker. He was Mean Mark Callis.
Yes.
In WCW or whatever it was, NWA at the time, whatever. And I remember when he came over to the WWF, and I was like, oh, wow. I said, that's Mean Mark Callis. I didn't know that, he was that important and that big of a star.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him over. Do you remember who brought over The Undertaker?
Oh, I do, only because I watched.
I remember that, Mike.
It was part of something. Sure, we all do. Yes, I still watch them. The Peacock channel, Peacock Network has all the old wrestling. I just watched a whole bunch of those. No, I don't know off the top of my head, Jeff.
$1 Million Man.
Oh, really?
Yep. It was $1 Million Man.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I see that's history right there. See, that's real history, folks. You got a lot of history here tonight. You got the 80 Olympics, and now we're talking Mean Mark Callis turning into the other. But when he got put over, it wasn't as the Undertaker yet, right? It was still.
He came into the WWF. He's always been the Undertaker in the WWE, WWF.
Okay.
Always. But he had a couple different personas as the Undertaker. It was the Undertaker, Taker. He was the biker, which was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And then he was, like the old-fashioned Undertaker, and then like a dynamic Undertaker.
Yeah.
The whole character reference was cool.
Yeah. They got played out.
The character is the Undertaker. But when you look back at it, you'd be like, man, some of that was pretty stupid, man.
Yeah. But it's funny. I didn't realize he was kind of like, I guess after Andre, he became the kind of the, I don't know what's the right word. He became kind of like the elder statesman of, that's the right thing to do. That's not the right thing to do. He became kind of like the voice of reason, but the kind of guy that everybody kind of looked at and say, am I doing this the right way?
Because he the stories that I've read about him, he was the leader of the locker room without a doubt.
Yes.
And they would have a kangaroo court if you fucked up. And if you did something wrong and he had to take you outside or something, he did what he had to do. But then again, very few people can argue with somebody who's 6'10", 300 and something pounds,
Very, 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 very true. But yeah, he kind of assumed that Andre role. Like Andre was the guy who kind of like, all right, this is what's happening in here. And, everybody kind of played by his rules. And, obviously he was more of a pain in the ass probably than Mark Callis was.
A lot of people, from what I read, a lot of people say he respected the whole wrestling thing.
Yes.
So he, there was rules that they would abide by.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a kid, I just read it saw a video of it on Instagram not too long ago, a kid named Maven that knocked him out of the ring during one of the pay-per-views. And the kid was the only one in the ring, and he went in the ring and he drop kicked Undertaker out of the ring. But he said a lot of people don't realize, he goes, that was my idea. He goes, I came up with that idea. And I told them he was trying to put that kid over. So in trying to put the kid over, he was like, drop kick me out of the ring. And the kid did. He stood too close to the ropes. The kid drop kicked him, and over the rope he went, and he fell down. Feet touched the floor. And that was it. So he helped put that kid over a little bit at the time.
Wow. So
like when you say that, how these guys do certain things, he helped those behind him. So, it's cool story.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's the cool part. He seemed like a decent guy. I've seen a couple of WWE things about him, and he really comes across as one, everybody seemed to like the guy, and B, seemed to be one of those guys who held the tradition of the ring to as opposed to most other guys. So that's pretty cool. And again, we'll go out to WrestleCon and see some of our. Frankie, I think at some point Hulk Hogan was probably a big douchebag, full of himself, and it's kind of like Rowdy Piper. Rowdy Piper would never lose a match. You could never pin Rowdy Piper. If you read the stories,
I heard that before.
He refused to be pinned. He would lose. He would get disqualified. He would be thrown out of the ring. But Rowdy Piper, you never saw Rowdy get pinned. And obviously I never had a chance to go back, but I've watched a lot of his wrestlers, his matches, and he never got pinned. I've never seen a guy pinned. So that was his deal.
Tom, keep going. I just got to take a quick squirt.
Good, guys. Again, Hard Rockin' Sports. That's Jeff, and I'm Tom. We're here every Thursday night. And, of course, we're here based on all you people who watch us. But we also want to thank our good friends for looking out for us, and that's our good friends at Hemp Wizard Beard Care Company and their full line of beard care and skincare products, which you can find at hempwizard.net. Mike Weissman is a true genius. People will tell you, especially Jeff, how great his products are. And, of course, he did us a nice favor and put out a fragrance that helped Jeff design called the Sunday Audible. I think it's peach, vanilla, and leather. And I have 2 bottles. Jeff has the prototype. And, of course, if you have a person in your family who's got a nice beard or they're working on their beard, we'll get them some nice products by going to hempwizard.net and supporting local businesses. And if you don't have anybody with a beard, but you have somebody who loves to take care of the skin, they have a great line of skincare products, which I will tell you we endorse here at the Florio household. So do me a favor and please, please, please. Also, our good friend Chris LaFrancesca, he's got an online record store called Metro Records on eBay. So you can check that out. Go there and you can buy some old albums and improve your record collection, which I'm going to do. I'm got to get the Billy Joel Glass Houses. I need the first Kiss album. Those are 2 on my list to get to add to my collection. And I will be actively trying to do that. Just watch RRP against Goldust, and he ripped off the GD clothes, and he has the woman's arms. Yes, I remember that. Yes, that was Goldust? Why did I think that was the other one? Who was Jesse Ventura's partner, Jeff? Flower Shop.
RRP. Who's does he mean DDP?
No, I think he means Rowdy Piper.
Okay.
Goldust. I don't remember that against Goldust. Who did the Flower Shop was?
Adrian Adonis.
Yes, I remember him doing that to Adrian Adonis. I don't remember them doing that to Goldust, but I have to check that one out, Frankie. But we're back, Hard Rockin' Sports. That's Jeff and I'm Tom. We're here every Thursday night. Today's the 22nd of February, and we're knee-deep into some wrestling. We just started bullshit about Wrestling Con. Jeff, before we move on to anything else, do you want to get to your verses, your new segment that we've debuted 2 weeks ago? Do you want to do one now? You want to hold on to it?
Yeah. Let's do it now while we got Frankie with us to see where he could weigh in. Frank, I don't know if you know what the premise is of this is. What we came up with is we try to compare, something. We pick a subject, or I pick a subject to bring it to Tommy, and then we compare. So me and Tommy always used to talk about quarterbacks in the NFL. Just a few years ago, you had Manning, Roethlisberger, Brady, Breeze, and we would always say, like, who's the next up-and-comers? Who's going to take the place of these guys? Will they ever be able to be replaced? And when you think of some of the names that I just mentioned, Phillip Rivers, even Eli Manning, who is the ones that took their place, and are they on the same level now? You got Tony Richardson with the Colts, Stroud with the Texans, Tua with the Dolphins. Are some of these guys going to be in another year or two? Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, even Lamar Jackson. Is this new breed of quarterback going to be looked upon the same light as guys like the Manning brothers, Breeze, Brady, Rivers, Roethlisberger? I got to be honest with you, man. I don't get the same feeling from today's group. Very few from today's group I got that feeling about. Maybe definitely Patrick Mahomes, without a doubt. Maybe Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, but the jury to me is still out on the other ones. Tua's I think is going to be one of these guys that's going to have a great career, but he's always going to be second fiddle to some of these other guys. I don't know what you guys think, but Tom, what are your thoughts on that? Which is the better group, the guys of yesteryear or the guys that are up and coming?
Well, I think that it's closer at the top. When you start talking about Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Burrow, you can start to make the case that those guys are going to join that other group. But when I put the other group in with Brady, Peyton, Breeze, then we can drop it down to Roethlisberger, Rivers, Manning. There's a big drop-off after 3 current guys. So my problem today is I think the top 3 guys may get there someday, but they're not there yet. But I anytime Patrick Mahomes is at the top of the list, it'll make it interesting. But at this moment, the problem I have is after 3 current, we'd have to sit here and argue over the next group of guys. I mean, Dak Prescott's already proven what he is. You're right. Jalen Hurts and Tua. Is Lamar? Are we putting Lamar Jackson in this category?
I mentioned Lamar Jackson, but you know what? Right now, it seems to me in the NFL they're either really good or they're not, and so a lot of these guys still have a lot of time in front of them where they could win 2 Super Bowls and put them right in the conversation.
Oh, absolutely, right. But there's a lot of inconsistency after that.
Look at a guy like Phillip Rivers didn't win a Super Bowl.
No, but he was consistently a really good quarterback. The problem, Phillip Rivers, to a certain extent, even Eli, they had great regular seasons and then they would fall apart in the playoffs. Now, Eli did win 2 Super Bowls, ran 2 great Super Bowl runs. So he kind of comes out of that. But like Big Ben was consistent. Breeze was consistent. Peyton was consistent. Obviously, Tom Brady was consistent. The problem is, other than Mahomes, Josh Allen's inconsistent. Obviously, Burrow doesn't have enough of a resume yet, and even he's been hurt a couple of times.
But Josh Allen has been in the playoffs and has made every year he makes a deep run into the playoffs. He's almost times he made it to the AFC Championship, and he makes it to the divisional playoff round.
I get you. And again, so I will give you the top 2. I'll even put Burrow in 3 because I think Burrow is that good. The problem is after 2 and certainly after 3, the modern guys just don't cut it. You can't give me. We'd have to argue over the next 4 or 5 guys who's in the next category. And Sinead talking, are those guys? The next 3 guys, are they as good as Rivers, Roethlisberger, and Eli? That's the question.
Look at it this way, okay? You got Brady that won a majority of the Super Bowls. You got Mahomes that's won a majority of the Super Bowls in the last couple of years. Okay. No other quarterback has gone to the Super Bowl more than once other than Mahomes in the last couple of years. You had Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow seems to get hurt. He gets nicked up a lot.
Yep.
Josh Allen just can't seem to get over the hump.
Yep.
He gets there, he plays great, and then there's like a hump and he just can't get over it. You had Phillip Rivers that never made it very far in the playoffs.
Yep.
Drew Brees won championship. Aaron Rodgers won championship. Eli 2 championships. Didn't Peyton Manning have 2 also?
Peyton had 3 appearances and he had 2 wins. Yes.
Okay. Roethlisberger 3 appearances, I believe, 2 and 1, correct?
I believe
in the Super Bowl.
Did he win?
There at least twice?
Yeah, he definitely won 2 because he won one with Cowher and one with did they lose one in there? I think they did lose one.
They did lose one, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he went 2 and 1. He went to 3 Super Bowls. Yes.
So right now, okay, I brought up Stroud because he had a great rookie season. I brought up Richardson because I feel as though you have to bring him up. You don't know where his career is going to go.
No, agree 100%.
Okay, there's really nobody else to me other than Burrow. Lamar Jackson, say what you want about the guy, 2 MVP winning seasons. He's got to be, let's put it this way. To me, at this point in time, if I was picking between Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott, I think I would go with Lamar Jackson. Only
Well,
because
he's won 2 MVPs. He's won 2 MVPs, so you'd have to go with him over Dak.
Well, I just think that he has a higher ceiling than Dak.
I think that's yes.
Is being held back somehow.
Well, I think Dak's reached his pinnacle. I don't think Dak can get any better than what he is. He's had great talent around him, and he has not gotten over the hump. Now, that's not to say that he can't win a Super Bowl somewhere along the line, but I just don't think he's going to get any better than what he is right now. Lamar, to me, is a good regular season a great regular season quarterback, maybe great. I won't even say great, and a lousy playoff quarterback. He just that's who he is.
I will say this much: I do believe that the list of modern day. When I mean modern day, I mean guys that are playing now.
Yeah,
modern day quarterbacks that can turn out to be great is bigger and has more potential than the list from 10, 15 years ago, because you have Goff. Okay, Goff already has a Super Bowl win. All right, he gets another Super Bowl win. Now you're talking he's got 2 wins. That'll probably be enough to get him into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got Lamar Jackson, 2 MVP seasons. Herbert, is another one. Okay, if he tightens up, let's see what he can do. Burrow's a great quarterback. He's a lot of fun to watch. To me, guys like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen are a lot of fun to watch play. They don't look like they're exerting much effort as they're playing, that they're making these plays, based on their natural skill. You understand? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I got you.
Yeah, and I just think that they're great athletes, great quarterbacks. I think there's a lot more Stroud. Imagine another 2 years the way he's been playing, what he could do with his team.
I agree. The problem is, let's put it this way. I'll say it this way. So right now, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. I'm going to throw Rodgers in that mix because he's from that generation. Yeah, Roethlisberger and Eli and Rivers are all going to make the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, that's a huge class of guys. The other way, okay, let's pencil Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Burrow. I'm going to take a leap and say Burrow. After that, there are no lockdown Hall of Famers in that crowd. Tua, Jalen Hurts, Stroud and Tony Richardson, way too early for guys like that to talk about.
Definitely way too early. But when those other guys were playing, the Manning brothers, Breeze, Brady, they didn't seem like that. There was too much of a drop off after the Big Five. I feel.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think
maybe this is where I think that today's current list of quarterbacks are just they're grouped too close to one another. There's not enough talent to separate them from the rest of the group, if you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. Yep.
So that's why, like here, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, Goff, even Fields. If you've been reading, I know you are. If you're reading every day about the draft, and I try to read anything I can, okay? But everything about Fields, they're like, well, Fields is he got better every year. He's gotten better, but do the Bears reset the quarterback salary by taking this new kid? Is that going to be the new thing now?
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah,
like that to me is I don't know about.
Well,
that.
I think that's because here's why. And first man to Frankie. Frankie, do I think Eli belongs in the Hall of Fame? I do. If you look at Eli's stats, they're very, very similar to Roethlisberger and Rivers. They're all pretty close. The one that separates them is wins and losses, which I think is unfairly given to or detracted from quarterbacks because they're the only ones other than coaches who have wins and losses next to their name. Nobody has the guards, wins and losses, or running backs or wide receivers. Their stats are amazingly close. Other than Eli's probably got a little more in the way of interceptions than the other guys do. Everybody else is close. Eli's got 2 of the greatest runs in the Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowl wins against the most dominant team of that time. Eli gets in. Would it shock me if he didn't get in first ballot? It wouldn't shock me. But Eli Manning will be a Hall of Famer someday, whether it's first ballot, second ballot. Eli's getting in the Hall of Fame just based on the name, the 2 Super Bowls, Eli's going in the Hall of Fame.
They got to water it down one way or another, right?
Yeah.
How better to do it than to put Eli Manning in?
But going back to your other comment, and I love your comment about that, Jeff. I think that is the new norm, because here's the problem. You get to the rookie deal and it's over, and next thing you know, you're paying these guys. And I'll be the first to say, I love Daniel Jones, and the Giants had no choice, but the market is set at $40 million a year for a quarterback who hasn't really done a lot. I mean, he's had 2 good seasons out of the 5. So to me, the best way of your team is, okay, you know what? We run you out on your deal. If you win a Super Bowl, great. If you don't, we bring in the next guy and we reset the clock, because otherwise, nobody in the world wants to pay Justin Fields $40 million a year.
No, but every time they talk about him, they say that he's gotten better. He's been getting better every year. He does a little bit more every year. I agree with you, but you want to know something? Now you just knocked your team back how many seasons? So
maybe not. Maybe not. Because think about it. If you build your team and you're getting to the point where you're starting to get good enough, and then you bring in the next CJ Stroud, who had a great season, I'm not telling you that I would want to do it, but here's the other problem. Let's say you get a guy. Look at Justin Herbert. Now he got a deal, but think about it, Jeff. Is he going to be worth $40 or $50 million that they're going to pay him? Not yet.
No, but
Right.
Like in the case of somebody like Daniel Jones, I think that was 2 things. One, the Giants kind of panicked a little bit.
Okay, I agree.
They had to get a quarterback, so they signed him.
Yep.
Also, by signing him to $40 million a year, by the time the end of the second year, it's going to look like a bargain compared to some of these guys, that the $40 million may be below market value.
Agreed, 100%. But again, if the Giants had a different way to go, if let's put it this way, if Daniel Jones had a bad year, the year they went to the playoffs, and then the offseason got the deal, they would have drafted a quarterback or not paid him. They would have went to somebody else and reset the clock. He had a great year. They went to the playoffs. They want to build on it. I get it, but I can understand teams wanting to say, you know what? I got a guy who's maybe a good quarterback after 4 years. Let me reset the clock, not pay $40 million and spend it, and I'll keep it to $8, $10, $12, $14 million with the rookie contract. So I think that's the difference. Is if you got a Mahomes or Josh Allen, or maybe you got Joe Burrow, then maybe you're willing to pay that $40 million a year. And you're right, that may be cheap soon. But if you don't, it may be better off to just say, you know what, let me restart the clock and keep that price down and be able to spend money other places. So, but that's a great point by you.
I read someplace that Dak Prescott is looking for $60 million a year. If they give Dak Prescott $60 million a year, okay, without ever getting to the Super Bowl, one, it's just going to be rolling along with the league and how the league is slowly climbing up and up and up in the salary. But it's insane. Yeah. But I kind of disagree with Justin Fields. There's no reason to say that he's going to get $40 to $60 million a year. Maybe he definitely gets a raise, but just will say, listen, you haven't done enough.
Well, I agree with you, but here's the problem is, so now he runs the risk of taking less money and being ostracized. Think about it. The union doesn't want Justin Fields to take a smaller deal. They want the contracts to keep going up. The problem is you're paying these guys, Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott, 40%, 25% of your entire budget for a team, and then you're trying to put a team, like the Giants are struggling to put a team out on the field right now.
Yeah, a perfect example of that is the Los Angeles Chargers. They already have Khalil Mack and what's his face, Bosa.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, they're getting, I think it's like $76 million of their salary cap between two defensive ends.
Right. So now think about it, and then you're paying your quarterback $40 million. How do you do that? So here's
now team is going to suck.
Right. So here's the problem. Now look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs sucked all year because they couldn't spend money on Tyreek Hill. They had to let him go 2 years ago. They couldn't go get a top-notch receiver because they didn't have the money. They got lucky. They won a Super Bowl because they got the best quarterback on the planet right now. Who
They
just
won 2 Super Bowls in a row
right? So
without Tyreek Hill. They won
Right.
more Super Bowls without Tyreek.
So they're the antithesis. They are the anti thought process that I have. That how do you build a team by giving your quarterback the most money? The good part for them is they have the best quarterback on the planet. So
They
right
do.
now they're lucky.
They have one other thing too, okay, that you haven't mentioned yet, which is Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is
yeah.
huge to that team.
Yes,
What
I
happens
agree.
the year that Travis Kelce steps away from that team?
Listen, I agree with you. And now maybe they take his salary, split it up. Maybe they come up with a better play. I don't know the answer, but you're right.
Yeah, but the one thing they can't the one thing they can't come up with is a fucking time machine because he's getting older.
Oh no! Listen, there was a lot of speculation that he would walk away after this year. Or there's possibility that he would walk away with a Super Bowl title, but I guess the chance to three-peat will drag him back. But I could definitely see if they fall short next year, him walking away from the game, especially if he marries Taylor Swift and he's following her around the world as she tours. But listen, at the end of the day,
I gotta speak up about him, man.
Go ahead.
If I was Andy Reid, first of all, he made Andy Reid look stupid.
All right, we were going to talk about it. Go ahead, bring it up.
And Andy Reid should have immediately benched him.
I listen. I am all for guys being passionate and wanting to be out there, but in any game, let alone the Super Bowl, you cannot go up to the coach screaming and yelling, bump him. I mean, think about if Andy Reid had fallen during that. Like if he had knocked him down, how bad that would look. And because you were upset the guy fumbled and you weren't in the game, let me tell you something. You're 100% right. He should have been benched. I would not account that my biggest problem is, there was 165 cameras running around on that during that game. There's mics everywhere. They picked up every bit of sound. We listened to them badmouth. We listened to them make fun of the 49ers not knowing the rules for overtime, tons of different things. And they squashed the Travis Kelce comments when he was screaming at Andy Reid. And I think that's horrendous.
They can't right now because of his connections to Taylor Swift. They just can't.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
It's all. I'm convinced it's all about that. They can't make him look out to be a bad guy.
100%. Right now, he's the poster boy for the NFL because he keeps her in the league, and that means all her little Swifties coming back every week to watch games, and they got a huge ratings boost from all of that. And you're right, but to me, that's a bad look. If you're the NFL, you have to put that out there. That was a big piece of the game. Everybody talked about it. You cannot now put that out there and not put out the audio, and all you're playing when you show that is Tony Romo talking about what happened. To me, that needs to be played. And, listen, now Travis Kelce, he has a podcast with his brother, and he went on and he apologized and he said he was wrong. And his brother told him, dude, you're wrong. So I'll give him credit for at least stepping up and saying, yeah, I was way out of line. But I want to hear what he said.
What would have happened if they lost? Would he have still said the same thing?
That's a great question. And here's a better question. Would they have, if they had lost, would they have played that instead? I think the answer would have been yes. But because they won, they're not trying to sully it. And yes, you're way on the money with this one. They're trying to not piss off him and Taylor Swift and that whole crowd and make him look bad. So you're right, 100%.
Listen, there's such a thing as being upset over a call. All right. If that's indeed what it was all about, there's definitely, you could play with passion.
No, he was out of the game for a play, and the guy fumbled, and that's why he went crazy. Like, I should be in the game. Get me back in the game.
I understand all of that, but my point being is that you could bug out all you like. You could do whatever you want. You could say whatever you want. Be passionate about what you're saying, and go and bitch to the coach during the Super Bowl. You don't have to run into him like you're gonna try to run him down. You also don't have to scream at him in his face like that.
Of course.
Okay, they were still well in the game at that point in time. It wasn't like they were down 35-3. And they scored another touchdown off a fumble. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, and it was the first half. So you still had all of this working for you. But he didn't seem to care.
No, and that's a big problem. So for me, that it was, if you want to say there was a negative to the Chiefs that day, that's the negative, is that Travis Kelce and how he acted toward Andy Reid. That what you can apologize all you want, you're not going to take it back. It happened, and we should be able to know what's going on. The Rangers are blowing up the Devils. Frankie, I'm sure at this point it's long done and gone. They'll never find. Yes, you're right, Frankie. They should find him. To me, he should be suspended for the first game of the season. If you're the Chiefs and you really want to set an example, at the very least, he should be suspended for the first game of the season.
That's not going to happen.
No, Jeff, I totally agree with you. I'm saying that if you really want to do the right thing and you want to set the proper example, if you're the Chiefs, Travis Kelce is suspended for the first game of the year. It'll never happen.
Listen, while I agree with you, okay? It's not going to happen simply because, couple things. One, they won the game. Two, he was the Chiefs' leading receiver in yardage and catches during the Super Bowl. So think of that.
No, agreed, 100%. Listen, I won't argue it. I think you're 100% right, and it's a shame that that's what it comes down to. But if that was any other player, he would have been out of the game and sitting on the bench for the rest of the day.
Yeah, probably more than likely. Yeah.
Yep. But you're right. It is strictly about name recognition at this point. Again, Hard Rock and Sports. That's Jeff, and I'm Tom. We're here every week. We do this show every Thursday night. I'm gonna throw a name at you. Your list for next year's dead list. Your names for next year's dead list got increased already with the passing of an icon, Jeff, and a true icon, a guy who goes back to the 1970s. Is one of the most iconic characters of all time. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I'm trying to think of who it was.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, the one and only, he was a one-time football player, and he is, of course, Mr. Carl Weathers passed away.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I did talk about it a little bit last week. Carl Weathers was a really good actor. I mean, if you watch the Adam Sandler movies, he was Chubb. He was hysterical. I don't know if you ever watched Happy Gilmore, Jeff. I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan.
I don't even remember him being in it, to be honest.
Yes, he was Chubb. He was the golf pro, the guy who taught Happy Gilmore how to play golf. Got his arm got his arm bitten off by an alligator. Carl Weathers was a funny guy. Predator was a great movie. Action Jackson. He was great in Action Jackson. But again, he is the iconic kind of combination Muhammad Ali type guy that was Rocky's foe for a couple of movies, and then his buddy for a couple of more before he was killed off in the movies, and the inspiration for a whole new series in Creed. I just saw that Creed 4 is about to come out. I don't find Creed. Do you watch any of those Creeds and
no,
Rockies?
I stopped at like the last Rocky. I saw the very last Rocky with Tommy Morrison like once.
Okay, there's actually another one after that one. Rocky Balboa came out after that.
Yeah, it just went too far.
Yeah, again, the Tommy Morrison one was the worst one. Rocky Balboa actually wasn't a bad movie, and the first Creed was great. Second Creed was okay. The third Creed I didn't like. The only thing I did like about the Creed series, they started bringing back some of the old characters. Dolph Lundgren came back and had a son.
Wasn't he the coach for a Russian boxer or something?
Yeah, it was, and it was his son. And then a bunch of the old characters came back to the series. So that's the cool part of it. But I haven't seen Creed 4 yet. I don't think it's out yet. I will probably watch it. I've watched all the other ones, but it's kind of got the. But Carl Weathers was the inspiration, obviously, with Apollo Creed, and a great actor. Seemed from all accounts a great guy, and just one of those guys who you. I agree, Frankie. So what happens is I think Sylvester Stallone kind of sold off his rights to some of that. And then the rumor is that he's going to come back and make one last Rocky, which I would be interested in watching. Yeah, Jeff.
I I can't get behind those anymore simply
No.
because what more are you going to do? This guy, I mean, I understand it's the movies. You can do whatever you want in the movies.
Sure.
Okay. That's one thing.
Mhm.
But Rocky has been fighting since the mid to late 70s.
1976. Yep.
And it's like, okay, so you're talking about 40 something years later,
Yeah.
and it's like, what is his record going to be now? 904, it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Rocky Balboa was kind of on the borderline. It's you never saw it. Rocky Balboa is the story of obviously Rocky. He's retired. He's kind of fading off, and ESPN's doing a series of computer generated fights, and they have Rocky who fights the Rocky Balboa character fights this guy. It's Antonio Tarver, the boxer. It's Mason Dixon. He's the champ. The guy's like 30-something-0. And that computer generated fight has Rocky win it. And it creates this whole thing. And they wind up having an exhibition bout. And Rocky nearly wins. It's a decision, and they give it to the champ. And it's just supposed to be one of the scenes where Rocky kind of fades off into the sunset and goes away. But I've heard that they're going to do another Rocky because they wanted to kill Rocky off in the Creed series, and he won't allow it. So I believe he's going to come back with another Rocky, but we'll see what happens. Yes, they did kill off his wife. They killed off Paulie. Like everybody's gone, other than they brought back what's her name? One of the young girls from the original Rocky. You'd have to kind of know the movie inside and out if I told you who she was. But anyway. So I do enjoy them. The Creed ones, I think, have kind of reached the end for me. I don't think I can do much more in the Creed series, but we'll see what happens. And I did see this trailer for Top Gun 3's coming out. Top Gun 2 was actually pretty good. I thought that was going to be the end. I'm assuming you didn't see Top Gun 2, right, Jeff?
Dude, I'll tell you the truth. I don't watch movies. I don't watch TV or movies. I really don't.
Yeah, I watch probably too much TV, but I love to watch a good movie. That's the original Top Gun was good, really good. Top Gun 2 was really good as well. It was one that very few sequels equal up. Jaws, yes. The Godfather, yes. There's a few that equal up, and obviously the early Rockies were incredible. But I don't know how much more they can go with the Top Gun 3, but we'll see how Maverick comes out of that one, Jeff.
Maverick is going to be old now.
Yeah.
You ever see pictures of Tom Cruise now?
Yes. Yeah. I just saw him.
Starts like up here someplace. They got him fucking pulled back pretty tight.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was thinking about it today when I read that. I wanted to see who is going to be. What's the movie that didn't have a sequel that needed a sequel? So is there a movie that you watch and you went, shit, there should be a number 2. There should be a second movie.
Oh, wow. Maybe
Frankie, come on, Frankie. Good. All right, Frankie, you got one, Frankie? Is there a, like where you want to know what's next for the character or for the movie? Like I was thinking about today. I couldn't come up with one. One I thought of, and I realized they did do a sequel, was Saturday Night Fever, and that was they had done Staying Alive.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
I'd go with Goodfellas or
Okay.
Casino.
Okay. See, the problem with Goodfellas though is everybody went to jail after that. So
yeah, they did. But Henry Hill did get released.
Yes, so I guess you could, but then again, is it too boring? Did anything happen after? Now, I just saw a whole documentary on Henry Hill, so there might be maybe something in there, but
there's so much shit that they were involved in, and everything that they could have made a sequel.
Yeah, but I'm curious if there's a movie out there that didn't get a sequel that you kind of went, where's part 2? You need another one of these movies. Even if it's like now they're coming out with like Lethal Weapon 5 is coming out. Sly did. There's the famous scene in that where Sly and John Travolta are walking down the street in the beginning of the movie. They bump into each other and keep going. But yes,
really?
Yes.
Was it supposed to be Rocky and the guy from
No. Sylvester Stallone directed Saturday Night Fever 2.
Yeah, but was he supposed to be Rocky that he bumped into or no?
I don't think so. He had the beard, the whole bit. So I don't think
During
so.
the Nighthawk days.
Yes. That actually wasn't a terrible movie. That was not a terrible movie. Billy D. Williams and Sylvester Stallone. He did a couple of good movies outside of that. A lot of it, I agree with Frankie. I watch a lot of it. I think they're doing another Rambo. The last Rambo was actually pretty good. Yeah, so there's a lot of good movies coming out. Again, Lethal Weapon 5, I got to watch it. Although 4 with Chris Rock, and it wasn't really good. History of the World, that was, you're right, Frankie. That's a good one. History of the World's a good one.
Well, it didn't History of the World Part 2. I think they started off with Part 2.
Correct. Yeah, I think that was the whole
Part 3.
I would tell you another one I would love to see another version of is Blazing Saddles. I'd love to see a modern version if they can pull that one off. That would be an interesting one. But so anyway, there's some movies coming out to see. I'm glad I don't go to movies anymore, but I'd like to. I love these movies, and think about it, some of it.
How about another Eddie Murphy fucking film?
They are. Beverly Hills Cop 4 is coming out soon.
I would love to see. You want to talk about a movie that should be made? How about a full-length Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, Buckwheat,
yes,
Gumby, or something of that nature, man?
I'll sign off on that. But yeah, I would not mind seeing. No, there was a Caddyshack 2, which wasn't very good. Jackie Mason, but there was again some iconic movies that could be made. But yes, there actually is another Eddie Murphy. Did you ever see Beverly Hills Cop 3?
No, I never did.
Good thing for you, because it's probably one of the worst movies ever made. Oh my God, it's one of the worst movies ever made. So forced, but I did see that. But although I think that one's coming straight to either Max or Netflix, one of them. So, but anyway, yes, this summer is Beverly Hills Cop 4. I love the original. The original is one of the best movies of all time. I can watch it every time it comes out. That's called Claw, I think, right? That's the movie about the Von Erichs. I have to watch. I'm going to have to get to that one of these days. Making myself a note on that one. Yes, you're right, Frank. You're never going to see a Blazing Saddles 2. It'll never happen. Then, listen, Gene Wilder was absolutely fantastic in that. So it was.
He's gone now, Gene Wilder, right?
I'm not sure about that, my man. I have to look that up. But he might be. Certainly, what's his name? I think it was Cleavon Little played the Black Sheriff. I think he's gone.
Yeah, he's been gone since 2016. Gene Wilder.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but yeah. So so there's a lot of movies that we can get to. But be on the lookout. I'll keep you guys updated. But if you haven't seen Maverick 2, Top Gun 2, see it. That was a really good one. And of course, be on the lookout for the next Lethal Weapon. It's supposed to be the last one. And of course, Creed's coming out. So some good movies. Creed 3, not so great. I don't know what you think, Frankie, but I didn't think it was so great. Jeff, let's talk a little All-Star games before we lose the show. The NBA All-Star game, I believe the score was like 212 to 186. Essentially, they were coming across half court and were chucking 3-pointers from the end from that. And here's what I'll say is, what happened to the days where guys would have some sort of competitive spirit and would want to win these games? I mean, just to say, hey, my team won, your team lost. And again, I don't want to be the old guy in the room, back in my day, but I remember watching the NBA All-Star games where guys like Jordan and Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing and that whole crowd competed against each other. I mean, to the point where, it was competitive, guys knocking each other down, and they wanted to win those games. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, they wanted to be the best. They wanted to beat the other guys. Even if you don't care about winning and losing, Jeff, there's got to be a little competitive spirit in you, no?
You would like to think so, but I think the money has it beaten out, man. I don't think here, according, I just looked it up. Highest salary that Larry Bird ever had was $7,070,000. Okay. In 1979, he signed a 5-year deal with the Boston Celtics worth $5-year deal worth $325 million. His annual salary was $650,000 a year.
Wow.
So these guys weren't making that kind of money.
Yeah.
You know, now you think of like Frankie brought up Jordan and Magic. Okay. How much money were those guys making? They were making more money, but not as much as the guys are today. Think about what LeBron makes, and LeBron was one of the guys like, oh, I need a rest. You know, I had 2 games this week. I played 2 in a row last week. I'm tired. Or remember a couple years ago that he wanted to rest?
Yeah. Well, that's the big thing in the NFL now. Yeah.
It's all about money, man. It's all about them making money. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, I agree with you and all of that. Yeah, I think that's the bad part. The problem is they're making too much money, and there's no need. But to me, no matter what, Jeff, I mean, you came up your whole life. I mean, being competitive. I mean, listen, we obviously never made any money playing sports when we were kids, but it was all about being competitive. You still wanted to win. I mean, you could easily in the middle of a game walk away and go, I don't want to play anymore. But guys went out there and you tried to win, yet were competitive. I mean, these guys playing their whole lives, it's all about the competition. To me, that's almost embarrassing to go out there and put up 212 points. It's basically saying nobody played defense. You stay on your side, shoot as many as you can. We'll stay on our side, shoot as many as you can, and whoever gets the most wins. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but like I said, Tom, nobody wants to play defense. They're not going to try to jump up and block a shot on a useless game.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to get hurt. How many of these guys may be in a contract year?
Yeah.
And that's more important than winning any kind of all-star game. And listen, only 2 teams go to the World Series or the finals where these games have impact on what happens. So now if here you are on the Detroit Tigers and it's the all-star game and you're 30-50, and you know that you're only going to get worse as the season goes on. So what's in it for you? But now here you are on the Yankees and you're 60-20 and you're on a 10-game win streak going into the All-Star game. So the All-Star game is a lot more important for you than it is for the guy on the Detroit Tigers. So why is he going to play and break his ass playing and try to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe he has 1 year before his contract expires and he's on the bubble as a player. Like, does he still have it? Got to show that I still have it. That's it's got to be. It has to be.
No, I agree. It's just, to me, at some point, all the All-Star games need to go away. The magic of the All-Star games back in the day were that you saw guys on the court that you didn't get to see. Like, think like baseball. Like, how many times a year did you get to see, somebody in the San Francisco Giants play? Or how many times a year did you get to see guys on the California Angels? So it was big in the All-Star game. You got to see the guys. Or even better, there was a lot of times in hockey where guys on the West Coast, when it came to New York, they weren't on TV, the Ranger home games, so you didn't see it. And when they played on the West Coast, those games were 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. I wasn't allowed to stay up and watch those games. So there were guys you never got to see. The All-Star game and the playoffs were really the only time. That magic went away with the advent of all the cable and all the different TV deals and stuff. To me, the All-Star games now are a waste of time. You're better off just telling everybody stay home for 3 days, get some rest, and come back and start the season over. I think playing these games, other than a money thing, Jeff, they're a waste of time.
Of course, it's just a money thing, Tom. Of course, this is how they sell All-Star merchandise. This is how they sell a third, fourth uniform, hats, T-shirts, souvenirs. You know what I mean? Even the NHL All-Star competition.
Yep.
Guys could get hurt in that. And now if your team is on the bubble and here goes your best defenseman, and now he gets hurt, he shoots the puck and it bounces back in his face, hits him in the eye. Freak accident, yeah, but they do happen.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I agree with you. If you can't go all out, what's the sense of going out at all? Ugh,
Yeah, no,
excuse me.
I agree, and I think that at the end of the day, if the games aren't going to be competitive, then all you're doing is trying to again is a money grab. And I think the players want it. Now, if you want to just do a like the hockey does a skills competition, that's semi fun. I mean, it's kind of lost its luster. I mean, is anybody really watching a slam dunk contest anymore? I think the 3-point contest is probably more exciting than the slam dunk contest at this point. I mean, there's nothing left. So, I mean, to me, I get it's a money thing. I would just say, hey, guys, everybody go home for 3 days, take a break. Let's come back and start it all over again. And I think you'd be much, much, much better off to do it. My opinion.
Hard to disagree.
Let me show you. So now I don't know if you watched any of the stadium series this past weekend. It's not the All-Star game. They did outdoor hockey at one stadium each year. This year was at the Meadowlands, at the MetLife Stadium, I should say. And on Saturday, the Devils played the Flyers, and on Sunday, the Rangers played the Islanders in a really good hockey game. And now for the Islanders, wasn't so great. They gave up a bunch of goals with 2 minutes left and change, and a bunch of power play goals. It was a crazy game, but the excitement, the 80,000 people in the stadium watching a hockey game, it was the NHL did a great job, and all that. Now, the one problem I had, and you know me, I get stupid when it comes to uniforms. I want to show you the two of you. I can't find the Ranger one, but this was the Island. This was the Devils uniform for the weekend, and this was the Islanders uniform for the weekend for that game. And to me, it couldn't have been two worse uniforms ever.
I like the Devils one. The Devils one looks nice. The Islanders one looks like an old-fashioned jersey from like the 20s.
Yes, agreed. So if that's what you're going for, I guess it works. But to me, that's now the Ranger one wasn't horrendous. I'm gonna see if I can find the Ranger one.
Is that the Avalanche one all the way over on the right? No. Go back down. Go back down. Go back down. Right there.
I guess so. Yeah, it says Stadium Series. That's the Avalanche one. Yeah, and not horrendous. I still say the Blackhawks have one of the best uniforms in all of hockey. That's a different story. That's Nashville's. I can't find the Ranger one. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Hold on. Well, come on, I'm not finding. I really want to see to show you the Ranger. Ranger one was weird because I kind of liked it, but it wasn't great. Let's see if it comes up here. That's the Flyers, Devils. Okay, here's the Ranger one, Jeff. Can you see that? Hold on, let me stop screen. 1 second. I apologize. Okay, there it is. Share that. That's the Ranger one. That's coming up right on your screen now. What do you think of the Ranger one?
Yeah, it's not exactly the one I like. I mean, it looks like I said. It reminds me of something that would have been an old-fashioned jersey back then.
Yeah, I guess you're right about the Devil one. Yeah, I guess the Devil one's not bad. The Flyer one's actually not terrible. They're an old-fashioned Flyer jersey, but the Rangers and the Islanders, I wasn't crazy about. I got to be honest with you. But I know you didn't watch any of it. You got band practice. You got all your stuff going on. But I have to tell you, if you're only going to watch a couple hockey, you bought the Ranger one, Frankie. Yeah, it's like watching ice hockey on the pond back in the day. It really was a great atmosphere. It was a good hockey game, which definitely helped. But if you're going to watch one hockey game a year, watching the outdoor games is a lot of fun. It's cold. You can see people in the stands are all bundled up. The only thing I would say, if you're at that game, you're sitting so far back from the ice. Like hockey games, you've been to hockey games, right?
Me, yeah, of course.
So when you're in like Madison Square Garden or the old Brendan Byrne Arena or Prudential Center, you're on top of the ice. You feel like you're right in the game sometimes. In the Meadowlands, it had to have been a different feeling of being so far away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely
so anyway,
different. Yeah, of course.
Yep. So, but so Stadium Series was great hockey. It's a shame it's almost a shame they only do it once a year in one stadium, but it definitely adds to the luster of that. And again, the Rangers are playing great hockey. They're a top 2 or 3 team in the league as far as I'm concerned. And we'll start paying a little more attention, especially if they get to the playoffs with this thing. We'll be forcing Jeff to pay attention to Rangers hockey because, who knows? We may actually get to celebrate a Stanley Cup here on the air, which would be pretty cool for us. But we'll see how it plays out. We got a couple more things to get to before we end the show tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Jeff and I are here every Thursday night at the Hard Rock and Sports Show. Let's try. Last thing for me, really, Jeff, is Slayer. You keeping up with Slayer these days?
You know what? I saw the thing that they're coming back for a few one-off shows at these festivals.
Yep.
Listen, if Motley Crue could come back together, why not Slayer?
Well, first off, I was surprised. What I read was Kerry King said that him and Tom Araya have not spoken in 5 years, not since the last show when they walked off stage. Basically, that was it. They haven't spoken since. So I found that to be odd. I mean, these guys have been in bands for years.
Well, supposedly they hate one another. Which
I just it's amazing to me. I don't know how that happens, but whatever. Here's my problem. There was a thing out this week from Tom Araya. I think it was Tom Araya's wife. One of them has a wife who put out something like, things change, and if you don't like it, don't go. But my problem again for her, yeah, I would agree with that, Frankie. My problem for the whole thing is this: you do a tour and you say this is it. We're never going to play again. So people go out and buy the merchandise. They get the ticket stuff. This is the last show ever. I was there for the last song. I got the last guitar pick. And then all of a sudden, 5 years later, you do another show. Whether you're doing 2 or 3 festivals, it's still, you've just cheapened what you did, Jeff. And what you told your fans was, we made you buy a bunch of ridiculous things because it was the last show. And now we're going to have another last show. And what you did doesn't matter anymore because this might be the last show or maybe this festival. I think it's disgusting, to be honest with you. I say keep playing as long as you want. But when you say it's the last show, make it the last show.
Yeah, listen, I hear you, Tom. And it's a shame for the people that went out to this, but Slayer fans are pretty rabid, so they're going to go out to any show that they possibly can get to.
No, I get it.
And just a couple of weeks ago, we went over a list of bands that formed this year and everything else. So you know what? Even though they haven't put out an album in God knows how long, and here they're coming supposedly do a couple one-off shows at these festivals, I'm not a big Slayer fan, but I applaud the comeback simply because maybe it'll jumpstart some music. Maybe it'll jumpstart other bands into playing again or doing something because there's nothing happening right now. Nothing.
I agree, and I'm okay if they wanted to hang. If you said just play, and then say, oh yeah, by the way, that might have been the last show. We're not sure. We'll let you know. I get it. And then you come back 5 years later or 10 years later. I kind of get it. But it just killed. What Motley Crue did. We signed contracts. We're not coming back. To me, it's when you say that this is it. This is going to be the last tour. I'm not coming back. We're done. And you put out merch and you put out stuff, and people are jumping on it for nostalgia, for keepsakes, and then you come back and play. I don't care if it's one show or 10 shows. It's wrong. I get your point. I would love to see it. Again, I know it's not a money grab, Frank, but you cheapened up that tour that you had. If Kiss came back now and played 2 or 3 shows, it cheapened up the last show. Everybody made a big deal. This is the last Kiss show. If they come back and play 2 or 3 shows at festivals, it just cheapened that. To me, that's the thing. And again, I know they're doing it for the fans, and I get it. I'm not saying that people won't be running to it. If Jeff went to all the last of the shows for Black Sabbath, and if they came out tomorrow and we're going to play another round of shows, you might go to one of those shows. I get it. But to me, it just cheapens up your experience or the people who went to those last couple of shows for Black Sabbath and stood there and said, I'm at the last Black Sabbath show. And then they find out you are.
Here's the difference between Slayer and Black Sabbath.
Go ahead.
Black Sabbath were pretty much done age-wise and health-wise when they played their last show. And we see that they haven't done anything since. Slayer was still relatively young. You know, they were just about 60 now at this point in time, maybe, 61. And, they may still have the urge to play. I mean, it took Kerry King this long to come up with one song, comes up with his song, and then they announced that Slayer's playing again. So, I mean,
I'm not disagreeing, Jeff. I agree, but then don't make if there's a possibility that you 5 years from now might want to do this again. I get things change, and I do, Frankie, I understand your point. And again, but see, KK's different, Frankie. First off, he retired and said, "Hey guys, I made a mistake. I want to come back." They said, "You're a douchebag. You're not coming back." And then he went out and started playing. So, an individual retiring and then coming back, I kind of get. When you shut the band down and you make a whole tour out of shutting the band down, and then you come back, that's douchey. And I get the loyal fans are going to run. I get it. Bothered me. I think Motley Crue is one of the worst live bands of all time. I mean, I have to think hard to think of a worse band that I saw live than Motley Crue in their heyday, Jeff. Right? I mean, this wasn't Motley Crue at the end. This is Motley Crue at the height of their.
Yeah, they sucked.
They sucked out loud. I mean, we could have got 2 tin cans and a bottle, and we could have made better music that night. And they were horrendous.
Pretty much.
And I've seen their concert films from later on, and it wasn't any better. So this wasn't a band who just had an off night. This is a band who is great in the studio and is all hype, and made a career out of it. Good for them. And you said this is it. When you say it's got to be it. Have some standards. And I just, it bothers me. And again, at the end of the day, it has no effect on my life. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not a Slayer fan. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to buy anything. But to me, if I'm a Slayer fan and I spent money on all those concerts because it was over, I'd be a little pissed off about it. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, the Slayer fans think of it completely opposite. For everything that I've seen on Facebook, they can't wait.
No, I agree with you. I saw it all, people. But for me, on the outside looking in, to me, it's the same thing as Maiden. If Maiden turned around and said, this is it for us, we're done, I would tell you, I would go to all the concerts in New York City, and I would probably go to Florida and try to catch a concert there. I would try to catch their last North American concert if I was able to. Pennsylvania, Jersey, Florida, I would go because I love Iron Maiden. But if I did that and then 5 years later, Maiden said, we're going to play a couple more shows, I would be pissed off about it. I would probably never listen to another Maiden album again, ever again. So that's how I feel.
Some people feel that way. It is what it is, man.
Nope, I get it. So it's just, and that is what
tonight. Feeling that way, I understand. Motley Crue, I think, planted a lot of seeds in people's brains when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, you're right, Frankie. Motley Crue did rip Kiss for that. And then they come back because, again, it's a money grab. And I see the Slayer one, I have less of a problem with because it is, from what I could tell, it's not a money grab. They just wanted to play, which here's the problem I have. If you hated each other now and you hated each other 5 years ago, why'd you stop playing? If you loved playing, why'd you stop? So I get it. Kerry King playing solo stuff, Jeff, isn't going to sell out an arena or a stadium. Slayer playing is going to sell out. So you want to get that hunger to go out and play in front of 20,000 people again. I understand it. But the Motley Crue guys, that was strictly a money grab. They got offered enough money to go back out there and play their shit music. By the way, did I tell you that I had Taco Bell with John 5?
No, you did not.
So I'll tell you a quick funny story. Last week, because John 5 is the guitar player now in Motley Crue.
Yeah.
So my office moved uptown, 36th and 6th. So I walked out of my office and I was starving. I hadn't eaten and I was headed to go somewhere else. I said, I got to get something quick to eat. And I haven't had Taco Bell since I started my diet. It's been well over a year. haven't had Taco Bell. So I was like, all right, I'm going to torture myself. I'm gonna go in there. I'm going to get myself 2 bean burritos. My favorite thing at Taco Bell. So I'm standing at Taco Bell, and now they have this whole new orders. Like you go up to the thing, you press your buttons, you click on this. You don't have to talk to anybody. It goes right in. They make the order, and I'm clicking buttons. And I look over next to me, and who's making an order? It's John 5. Got the guitar on his back and everything.
Yeah.
And I got to go. Is that really him? And I'm standing there online. I haven't finished my order yet, and I'm Googling John 5 pictures, and I'm going, that's him. So he looks at me. I look at him. He nods. I nod back. And we complete our orders. And we're standing there. And I should have went up and said something to him, but I didn't want to bother the guy. The guy obviously didn't want to be bothered with it. And we both got our bags at the same time. And I said, have a good day. He said, thank you very much. You too. And we went about our business. And I say, I got Taco Bell with John 5. So if you're ever going to run to somebody's... Now the only thing would have been cooler is if John 5 and I were in the same in stalls next to each other while we were passing the Taco Bell, which I'm sure happened a short time later for both of us.
I'm sure it did. And if you were in the same vicinity at the same time, you could have said, "Listen, on 3, ready? We flush. 3, 2, 1."
I wonder if he would have passed it in some sort of like a rhythm. He's a pretty good guitar player. So maybe he had a little rhythm to it, and then over with. We could have kind of like, I could have been like, he could have played lead. I would have played rhythm. We could have made this work, sang some beautiful music together. But Jeff, I had Taco Bell with John 5, just for the record.
You should have went over to him, man. You should have just said, "Hey, man, just nice to meet you. Have a nice day." Just to do that would have been cool. But you know what?
Probably right.
He probably appreciated the fact that you knew who he was. You said hello.
Yeah.
And like, you know what? He can interact with fans that way. Me, if I knew who it was and I liked the guy, I definitely would have had to go over to him and just say, "Listen, I like you." Even if I didn't, I like your music, man. Keep it up, bro. You know, I love listening to you. Thank you. And shake his hand. If he was cool, then I would have pushed him for the picture. And if he wasn't, I would have slapped the shit out of his hand, like jerk off.
I don't think I'd have been too afraid to go, "I love your music." Yeah, what album?
That one with the picture on the front,
The one with you, the picture with the goatee thing? Yeah, that's the one I like. Yeah. David Burns, thanks for coming back, man. Dave seems to be back every week with us. Did that to Jericho at Kiss, and he pushed me out the way. Really interesting. That's I'm not surprised by that.
Frank,
Jericho
if means anything, I would have pushed you out of the way too.
Dave Burns, thanks for showing up, my man. Appreciate it. Anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. We're right on the witching hour of 9:00. We're glad you guys stuck around with us tonight for 2 hours. You never know what we're gonna talk about. To be honest with you, we didn't get to a quarter of what I had on the sheet. Between the wrestling con and the movies, you never know where we're going. But we're glad you stuck around with us, and we had some fun with it.
Firing all sphincter shots with John.
That's it. Absolutely. So, Frankie, we love you. Again, guys, we love all you guys, and we really do appreciate you coming back each week. We'll be doing this again next Thursday night. The last day of February night will be the 29th. It's right, leap year. We got the extra day. So make sure you come on back next Thursday night. Don't get confused. Now, it's not March 1st. We'll be on February 29th at 7 o'clock. Jeff and I will do this all over again. So, Jeff, you got anything you want to end with?
Yeah, don't get so mad, Frank. You're a Broncos fan. Life is already fucking you up, man.
Frankie's the best. Anyway, guys, thanks all for tuning in. And stay tuned for a lot more shows down the line as we enter coming up on our 10th year on the air. And we'll be doing some special.
He never saw the. It's too
no.
late. We'll have to do
it. Next week. They're still up on my screen. I saved them, so they're out there in order, ready to go. So remind me next Thursday, I'll play them.
We'll give them the peppy ending.
Yes, we'll give them the ending to the peppy saga. So, but to end this saga, I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thanks to my dad, Frankie, Dave Burns, and everybody else who was checking us out online and offline. We really do appreciate all of your help. Again, remember, check out hempwizard.net for your best skincare and beard care products out there. Hemp Wizard Beard Care Company. All right, guys. So for Jeff Towinski, myself, and everybody here at Hard Rocket Sports, we say thank you. Have a great night. a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and a great next week. And we'll see you right back here on the Hard Rock and Sports Show next Thursday. Jeff, I'll talk to you off the air. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your night.
You
See
got
you
it.
later, pal.
I'll talk to you later, man.
See you later.
Bye.